Now on CoastTV News.
Sussex fire future. The new push for countywide control over fire and EMS and how it could hit your wallet.
Smoke in the sky.
It looked like they were on fire.
Wildfires from Canada darkening Delmarva and possibly endangering your health.
Rental tax tension.
Increase of this kind of magnitude is probably going to make people consider other locations.
A new tax shift in Fenwick Island could hit short-term renters, what's changing, and who it impacts.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Department finances in the spotlight.
Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 6. We begin tonight with a months-long report into the fire service presented to Council today. The report by a consulting firm looked at how departments spend their money and how financial conditions were varied widely. CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Lewis. Emma, the report recommended more county oversight.
Charlie, I have a few pages here of the 542-page report that was presented today, and Lewis Fire Department was one that was mentioned here, and in it says that fire companies are well led, but not as a system. And one of the recommendations is that Sussex County impose a tax. This would be a fire service fee that's allowed by state law. Fire and EMS in Sussex County only getting busier.
I do know that they are very active, and especially during the season, it's extremely active.
In a financial review presented to Sussex County Council today, consultants recommended the county and fire departments create a strategic plan for the future of the fire service and put, quote, more rigorous purchasing policies in place. Lewis local Juliet Burkaw is open to that idea.
Somebody has to have oversight, so I don't know if it would be each city, but if the county is sort of controlling it, then I think we'd have a wider net to cast than we would just with the city.
The report also recommends coordinated EMS billing for all departments to lighten their load. But another suggestion, a fire service fee, would put a burden on taxpayers. Cynthia Opterbeck says she understands to an extent.
I'd be in favor of it. I think it'd be important, although I would like to see that it wasn't excessive.
And she says that's all the more reason that the recommended county oversight could be needed.
If we're being taxed for it, we need to know that our representatives are managing, or looking at their management, making sure that it's fiscally sound and appropriate,
A call for more oversight and maybe more cash. If the county chose to impose a fire service fee as allowed by state law, it's not clear right now how much that would be, but the consultants recommended that the money goes to the fire departments where it's generated, so more populated areas would in turn make more money. Reporting live in Lewis, Emma Aiken, CoastTV News.
And this comes just 2 months after the Lewis Fire Department issued a formal warning to Sussex County Council saying that without a significant increase in funding, they'd be forced to begin dissolving its emergency medical services. That was brought up today. The consultants said overall Sussex Fire Services were doing okay, better than Newcastle County actually. And there is a lot to dig into here. We have the full report hyperlinked on our website, coasttv.com. This brings us right into our Coast TV poll. We want to know, do you feel confident in your area's fire department?
Let's take a look at the updated results from last news hour. 62% say very confident, 16% say somewhat, 21% say not confident, and 1% say unsure.
If you haven't voted yet, you can still do that. You can also leave a comment at coasttv.com or use the mobile app. We will show you updated results on Coast TV News at 11.
Let's go ahead and take a live look outside. As we look at conditions in Laurel, you can see a little bit of haze in the air there. And that's what Coast TV News reporter Zakia Jennings has been tracking. She's live in Milton. Zakia, you might not be able to necessarily smell it, but there is smoke in the air from wildfire in Canada.
Maddie, it is a beautiful day, but there is a bit of grittiness in the air. It may be hard to see, but wildfire smoke from our neighbors in Canada has covered Delmarva in a blanket of smoke, and it's affecting some people more than others. Here at Milton Memorial Park, it may be hard to see, but there's a bit of haze. Winds are blowing smoke from wildfires in western Canada to Delmarva. Sage Mitchell was out walking his dog today and says he's keeping his eyes and ears open when it comes to the air quality.
If we get a couple of days where it's a little bit more stagnant, yeah, there would be a bit of a concern there. And just try and stay inside with our pets and ride it out as best we can and wait for the next breeze to come along.
While there has not been an air quality alert yet, CoastTV meteorologists are tracking the smoke. DENREC says air quality is moderate, which means there may be a risk for some people, particularly those who are unusually sensitive to air pollution. Wendy Stinger remembers in 2023 when the last plumes of wildfire smoke hit Delmarva.
We could look out our window and see the woods behind us that looked like they were on fire.
Mitchell says he's optimistic.
One thing we have going for us is it's usually pretty breezy around here, so that can help it dissipate more quickly than not.
According to CoastTV meteorologists, the smoke plumes are rotating across the Delmarva Peninsula. Taking a look at my phone here, the air quality index right now is 42. Earlier today around 12 p.m. it was 33. The lower the number, the better the air quality. The higher the number, the worse the air quality is. Just something for you to keep in mind as CoastTV meteorologists keep an eye on the smoke and keep an eye on our air quality. Live in Milton, Zakia Jennings, CoastTV News.
Thank you, Zakia. And now let's look live into Milford, where you also can see a little bit of that haze. Our first alert chief meteorologist Paul Williams was saying our cameras with wider scope would be able to see that a little more clearly.
Yeah, and you begin to get an appreciation as to what the smoke is happening. Now, with Zakia's case, she's more of what you call a micro scale measurement of what's happening with the air quality. When you take a little wider view, you can see the coverage that's actually associated with it. Now, with our future smoke, this is projecting what the smoke's supposed to look like. Now, we see it still hovering over us by midnight. And then as we go into Wednesday, we're looking for it just over the beaches, but then notice as this wave pulls out of the way, we see another plume of the smokiness, all right, coming from our south, pushed with that flow that's coming out of the south. Now we do have a downgrade from good to moderate right over here, indicated by the yellow dot, closer to the Cambridge area and actually up here towards the Philadelphia area right now. So moderate for today. Overall for the entire region, 84 was actually the highest measurement. Now we're expecting to drop to 77, so better conditions tomorrow going along with the flow of our measurement, but the scale is really from 1 to 500, 51 to 100. That's moderate. Now we get into unhealthy when we're 101 to 150, and then it gets worse or progressively after that. We're not under any kind of air quality advisory right now, but up towards the Philadelphia area, they are indeed under that same concern. And here's a look at what we're expecting for the rest of the night with light winds primarily out of the south. More on your full forecast in a moment. Till then, back to you.
Paul, thank you. 2 homes were destroyed in separate fires early Tuesday morning in Milton. Take a look here. The Indian River Volunteer Fire Company says the first fire was reported as a brush fire. This was on Forest Road, but when responders arrived, the entire home was on fire along with a nearby car. And 3 hours later, a second fire broke out nearby. Another home destroyed. Both of those under investigation by the state fire marshal. We do have some more details for you right now. Just head to our digital platforms.
New tonight, the Ocean City Police Department identified the person who was hit by a car and ran off. You see him on your screen. Police say it happened around 12:24 a.m. on June 2nd near Arctic Avenue. They say the person got off a city bus, ran into the road, got hit by a car. Police say the driver stayed and cooperated, but the pedestrian left before police could speak with them.
2 separate gun incidents at Milford schools have some parents on edge. Last week, we told you a man dropped a gun in the pickup line at Milford High. And we told you last night, first on Coast TV, a 13-year-old accused of bringing an unloaded gun to Milford Central Academy. Today, many parents say police's reassurances aren't enough.
How did he have access to that gun? Why wasn't it secured? Basically, he should have never been able to put that in his backpack and carry it to school whatsoever.
The 13-year-old suspect does have a court date pending. Big tents now banned in Ocean City. The town says new rules will take effect immediately. Baby tents are still allowed, but all other tents and unattended canopies set up before 10 a.m. banned. The rules also require at least 3 feet of space between canopies and prohibit anchors or stakes that extend beyond the canopy edge.
Selbyville leaders are looking to formalize a ban on short-term rentals. Officials say it would target rentals of less than 1 year within town limits. The current code does not explicitly prohibit short-term rentals. Neighbors we spoke with shared mixed opinions on the proposal.
I think it'll benefit business to have people come and stay at the rentals because they're not locals. You know, locals from around that way, you know, we're not paying the high ticket prices other, you know, areas.
If you have people that are buying, they're going to be more secure and more permanent, and they pay taxes.
Selbyville town leaders are looking to hold a public hearing over the proposal on July 7th.
We are just getting started this evening.
The Indian River School District's second current expense referendum, just days away. What to know before hitting the polls.
And we're looking for some summertime sunshine for the next few days. I'll explain how that will feel coming up.
But first, why you may have to pay more for an Airbnb in Fenwick Island when we're back in just 60 seconds.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
Another hot, sunny day bringing vacationers to the beach, but Airbnbs in Fenwick Island might be more expensive this year.
That's because the state of Delaware wants a cut.
Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappé is live in Fenwick. And Kevin, these tax increases could cost the people visiting the coast more money.
Guys, last summer, Airbnbs in Fenwick Island had to pay only 8% tax to the town. But now the state wants their fair share, and owners are now going to have to pay a 12.5% tax altogether. Bob Watson loves walking his dog Tito in Fenwick Island. He's a local now who moved down here more than 3 years ago, and he says he's noticed a trend. More people skipping Ocean City to spend a little time on Fenwick Island.
Usually a lot of families are just looking for a quieter place, tend to gravitate toward Fenwick Island. Something a little less commercial.
But the coast for many of those families, specifically those choosing short-term rentals like Airbnbs, may be about to go up. The Fenwick Island Budget and Finance Committee discussed changing the current rental taxes in town. It's a reaction to the newly issued state tax of 4.5% on all residential communities in Delaware starting this year. As it stands now, when you combine state and town taxes, these short-term rentals will have to pay a 12.5% tax, while hotels only have to pay an 11.5% tax. Fenwick Island Treasurer Bill Reimer made a motion to have the hotel tax and rental tax meet in the middle, and hopes the Fenwick Island Council will approve.
The town, which has always charged 8% rental tax rate for residential properties, we just proposed in our committee to reduce that to only 7.5%.
By dropping the rental tax by 0.5% and raising the hotel tax by 0.5%, both groups would pay 12% each. Watson worries that even with beautiful ocean views, these increases could hurt business.
More people are going to be interested in finding a good deal for their vacations, and I think that an increase of this kind of magnitude is probably going to make people consider other locations as well.
Like seemingly every coastal town, Fenwick Island is trying to find that perfect balance that keeps visitors driving in and profits rising up. Now, the Fenwick Island Council will discuss this proposal on June 27th, and if they do end up approving it, it'll go into effect January 1st of 2026. I'm Kevin Zappé, live in Fenwick Island, Coast TV News.
Here's a look at your Gulf forecast. Line that put up perfectly because Mother Nature's lining up that weather perfectly. A little bit on the hazy side, 82 degrees, warmer and lots of sunshine. So we are a little bit concerned about the smoke and the residual smoke that's coming from the fires in Canada. But things are going to get a little bit better, and then we've got to kind of monitor because it's starting to rotate around the Delmarva Peninsula. And I'll show you exactly, not big concern, but just something to keep a close eyeball on, okay? Our tidal health camera, Salisbury 79, just a tick below 80, will drop down to 68 degrees as soon as the sun goes down under mostly clear skies and relatively light winds. We warmed all the way up to 82 degrees in Georgetown today. Now we warmed to 81, not only in Salisbury, but also in Ocean City, and we warmed to 80 degrees Wallops Island. So here's the latest look at what's happening with the air quality. Air quality has been downgraded from good, green, to moderate, yellow. Now, we start getting to the oranges, that's when we start taking it real seriously, but just kind of give you a heads up. This is what we're kind of monitoring at this point. Now, there's actually an air quality alert in effect in around the Philadelphia area, just north of our region, which is why we wanted to keep a close eye on what's happening. We're not under anything or any advisories or anything of that sort yet. And I don't think we're going to be for tomorrow because high pressure system that's settling in is already mixing the atmosphere in a way that's going to help to push this out of the way. Let me show you the movement according to our future smoke. Now this is a small scale tracking of the smoke, similar to a satellite depiction. Now at 10:30, we're looking at this orange. Now here's the scale to the north, north. Well, it is to the north of my map, but at the top of your screen, orange and reds, and that's where we're talking about problematic smoke. Now, we see it pulling out of the way going into, let's say, early Wednesday morning. But here's my other concern. As this wave was pulling out, the bottom side of this is actually going to begin to overtake the most southern portions of the Delmarva Peninsula, which is why we want to continue to watch this, especially with the temperatures escalating into the 80s. How far into the 80s? How about 86 for the high in Georgetown and Seaford? Or how about 82 in Cambridge, 84 in Vienna? Or we will warm to 84 in Salisbury, 82 in Berlin, Snow Hill, and Pocomoke City with the winds out of the south-southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And the temperature trend is going to stay in the 80s for the next few days in a row, which is why we're kind of monitoring this. We're not crying wolf as it pertains to this problem, but for those folks who have chronic breathing problems, this is always a very touchy thing. We want to be mindful of them as well. Wednesday morning, we start off near the 60-degree mark, slightly below it. Then we will bounce right back into the mid-80s, clear skies. Thursday is when the cloud cover starts to slowly weave its way into our tapestry, so to speak. And then winds pushing out of the south. Temperatures are 86, for example, in Millsboro, with partly cloudy skies, scattered cloud cover. Now, for the most southern portion of our viewing area, Thursday morning at 5:30, we start off about 64 degrees, thick cloud cover over Newark, Snow Hill. The clouds will thin a bit for us by lunchtime for us, actually. And then for the UV index, it's going to skyrocket into the very high category for at least 4 out of the next 5 days. So you'll need to sunscreen and everything that you can grab with this. So wrapping up, 58 for tonight and clear, 86 with sunshine for tomorrow. And we start off sunny with cloud cover by the afternoon Thursday. And here's a look at your extended forecast.
All right, Paul, thank you. The Indian River School District's second referendum is just days away. This comes after the first referendum in March was defeated by over 600 votes. The referendum is asking voters to approve $22.5 million in additional funding to cover rising operating costs and maintain competitive salaries for staff. Now, if you're going to vote, that's Thursday, June 5th. Polls are open 7 to 8.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
Tonight marks the first evening on Delmarva with no varsity sports. So let's update you on your 3 local favorites in the majors. The Orioles have won 3 in a row for the first time this season. Baltimore begins a 6-game West Coast swing tonight. The O's play the Mariners and then the Athletics in Sacramento this weekend. Baltimore just swept the White Sox at home, allowing 2 runs or fewer in all 3 games. First pitch tonight in Seattle is 9:40. The Nationals, meanwhile, have been surging with the bats. Washington has scored 39 runs in the last 5 games, and Maryland native James Wood has been in the thick of it all. His .952 OPS is second to only Aaron Judge amongst all outfielders in baseball. The crown jewel in the Juan Soto trade has 16 homers and 44 RBIs on the year. Washington hosts the NL Central leading Cubs tonight at 6:45. And the Phillies try to flip the page north of the border. The Titans play 3 in Toronto after being swept by the Brewers. Philly begins play tonight 1.5 games behind the Mets for first in the NL East. First pitch tonight is 7:07 against the Jays. That'll do for sports.
Here's a look at your 10-day forecast. We'll hold off on any talk about rain until Saturday.
Okay, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.